right, so week 12 classwork. It's hard to believe, but let that sink in that we are in the downhill slide of the semester. And with the holidays, it will start feeling even faster as we approach. So, getting ahead, staying on track if possible, but getting caught up is really important. Because as you see, each week that ticks by, and I know this is a repeat, but that's okay, is each week that goes by, it gets harder to get caught up in this class. So try to not let that happen to you. I'm going to cover a few topics that are relevant to our current social, economic, political environment that we're in, and two topics from talked about in a way that I think will be really beneficial. One is that last Friday there was a denial of service attack, and many websites were down. We experienced this for DevFest. For those of you that have heard me talk about that, I help run one of the largest tech conferences in Fresno. We were actually impacted by this because we use a website. Matter of fact, let me just go to our event site right here. This is the site we built, and one of our the way you got tickets for this event was through a site called Eventbrite. Okay, so Eventbrite was actually affected by the DDoS attack. But anyway, you'll hear about that in the video I'm going to have you see. But I also wanted to say, and by the way, the image here is actually what parts were affected because we had to put up a notice saying if you're trying to get tickets, you may not be able to do that. So while I'm talking about DevFest, let me just say, and this is a picture of me on stage, it was awesome. We had such a great event, largest we've ever had. Google, 5 people from Google were there. We had 300 people. Our DevFest was bigger than Chicago and bigger than San Francisco, so it's a huge feather in the cap for technology in Fresno. We are held down at Bitwise, so if you don't know about Bitwise, please check them out. I've mentioned this before, but if you want to know what's going on in Fresno, get connected with Meetup. Meetup is a great way, and both communities that I help run, Women Tech Makers and GDG Fresno, are there. So great website, great way to connect to your local valley scene. And in this case, and by the way, here's a picture of Bitwise where we were at that day. So going back to the topic at hand. So this denial of service attack, I'm going to have you watch a relatively short segment from one of my favorite guys, I will say, one of my favorite commentators, and he does a national radio show, but he also has a website, basically, it's basically like CNN for technology. And he talks about, first, and I'm going to have you watch two segments here. One about the DDoS, denial of service, and how that works and how it occurred. And he talks about Internet of Things, and this is just great content for you to consume. And the next somewhat related hack is, how did the um, Democratic National Committee, how did their email servers get hacked? And he talks about that. And this is also really, really important to understand about, phishing. And in this case, he calls them, if you've heard the term phishing, this is where people are, and he actually talks about it, so I don't need to. But a new term I had never heard called spear phishing, where it specifically targets a person, and in this case, Colin Powell and John Podesta, who are part of, John Podesta is part of the Democratic National Committee. So, anyway, these segments are not very long, but I want you to watch them. And in general, if this is if tech is an industry you're wanting to either learn more about or to get in, I definitely recommend checking out his site, which is Tech Guy Labs. But really, his is called TWIT. Sorry, TWIT, not sorry, TWIT.TV. So this is actually not just him, but he runs all kinds of shows all day, and I watch as much as I can. is to help keep me informed about what's going on in technology. So this is the where you guys are going to watch, but as you see, there's a lot of other shows that are out there. So just telling you about some key resources that I think would be helpful for you to have. So going back here, so these two right here are relatively short. So make sure for each one of them you have a heading, the DDoS and the DNC hack. And then I've been wanting to have you watch this for a while, but I do want to preface what you're going to watch, which is a 40-minute look at a commercial show, sorry, a show on AMC, I think, called Mr. Robot. And this show has really, I've been watching it from the very beginning, and in some sense, I definitely give a warning that it's very graphic and it can be very violent. So it's not that I'm recommending you watch the show, but what I like about this look at the season one really pulls out some of the key issues about really what is happening, because we this is a reality of the world that we all live in, with cyber attacks, cyber vigilantism, where now people are using technology to help make their points about the ills of the society and what they think should be done about it. These are not just shows made up in somebody's mind. These are based on real things that are happening in the world. Now, again, the storyline gets pretty dark because of what the topic is about. So I'm not recommending you watch it unless you're into that kind of thing, and then I recommend checking it out. So, but more than anything, this 40 minute look at Mr. Robot is not just a look at the series, but it's a really look at society and why this show has gotten so much notice, and it's so well done, really well produced. And like I said, it's really about for me, the content of what they're building this show around, which is our world as we are experiencing it. Okay, so in your notes, which you should have had a few notes about this topic, so I should see some at the very top of your notes, class topics. I want you to also, I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. As we're moving in week 12, you just have finished your second lab test. Okay, your Excel lab test. And I want to give the heads up here, because as we move into Access, Access is going to be something, unlike Word and Excel that we've done in the past, that you can't get this program if you don't already have it. You cannot get the program as you did Word and Excel, but you still can get the program out of that DreamSpark program that I signed you all up for. And I did that probably 4 weeks into the semester, and I hadn't really talked about it. But if you're going to, and you are going to need, so let's just say this, Access 1, 2, 3, and then of course their test, and that's the last lab test that we will have before the end of the semester. But the thing I would say, not only just about acquiring the program itself, so for you folks on Mac, because these, like always, the units are simulated, you'll be fine in doing this, but when you get to the lab test, you're actually going to need Microsoft Access. So especially for Mac students, this will not run on the Mac environment. So this will be the one time during the semester you're going to have to find an alternative. And I had mentioned before that if you need to run it on a Mac, you can do it in what's called a virtual box, and then you would run Windows. So what I want you to do is, in your notes here, I want you to tell me, do you have Access? And just to show you what it, because I'm on my Mac, I can't actually show you, right? I'm just gonna, it's not on there, Microsoft Access. So I just wanted to show you what the icon looked like so you'll know. But you can basically just search right on your, oh look, Wiki's asking for money. Good, they're a great service, they should get money. So Microsoft Access, here's an image of it, here's the icon, but you can just search your system to see if you have it. Most people do not. And So anyway, let me just end with that is that you have to, in your notes, I want you to tell me, do you have Microsoft Access? And if you don't, if you're into Windows, then did you get the email from me about the DreamSpark program? Okay, I signed you all up for it, and you should have you will, if you don't remember that, we'll need to make sure we get you to the right information. So do you have it? And if you're on a Mac, what is your plan for the lab tests? If you're going to want to run VirtualBox, then I need to do a video soon showing you how I've installed VirtualBox to run Windows inside of my Mac, and then inside of there I run Access. I know, crazy, right? So that's your topics for today for week 12. As I prefaced at the beginning, time is going to even feel faster as the holidays approach. So stay focused. Make sure you're getting help when you need it. Some of you have gotten this down, but if you want those late points returned, which just get work done if you've missed it, but if you want to receive the points that I've removed, right? So you still have to do the work, but if you want to receive those points that I've removed because things have been submitted late, then this is an example of a sheet that you need to set up, put it in the shared with Rio, and this is the item that you completed that will give you the late points back. So any of the trainings and also any of the additional Code Academy stuff, proof that you did it, and then the item you submitted late. And this is the column I fill out when I upgrade or when I change your grade based on this sheet. All right, I know there's a lot in this video, but I think it's really important just to kind of keep us in touch with really important topics in this class. So have a great week, and I'll see you in week 13.